What if one day you woke up and realized your body couldn't do what it used to, not because you're sick, but simply because you're aging? You reach for your slippers, but your legs feel heavier than they did yesterday. You try to remember the name of that neighbor you've known for years, but it just won't come to you. You go to make a cup of tea, but you pause halfway through, wondering, wait, what was I doing again? And the scariest part? No one tells you when it starts. No one gives you a warning label for life after 80. You just sort of find yourself there one day, in a quieter home, with fewer phone calls, with routines that used to bring you joy, now feeling like distant memories. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed these little changes in your own life? Or in someone you care deeply about? Changes that seemed small at first, but now, they feel like big red flags that you wish you had paid attention to sooner? You see, this isn't about being dramatic. It's about being honest. And it's about preparing ourselves, and the people we love, for what life really looks like after 80. Because the truth is, aging isn't always gentle. It doesn't always come with rocking chairs and sunny afternoons. Sometimes, it comes with isolation, with a deep, quiet sadness, with fear that no one really talks about. But today, we are going to talk about it. Openly, honestly, and with heart. Whether you're getting older yourself, or you're watching a parent or grandparent navigate these years, this video is for you. Because today, I'm going to walk you through 6 harsh but important realities of life after age 80. Some of them might hit close to home. Some may surprise you. And some may open your eyes to things you never noticed before. But here's the thing. These truths aren't meant to scare you. They're meant to empower you, so you can care more deeply, love more patiently, and understand what really matters in these final, precious chapters of life. So before we dive in, I want to ask you to do something simple. Comment, "I'm here," down below if you believe our elders deserve more. More love, more dignity, more understanding. And if you're passionate about making these years count, subscribe to Elderly Counsel, because we're building a space that truly honors aging with grace, knowledge, and compassion. Now, let's talk about what really happens after 80. Reality number 1, slower recovery times. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a man named Frank. He's 84, living in a quiet neighborhood just outside Des Moines, Iowa. He's retired, widowed, and he still takes pride in mowing his own lawn, well, at least the front part. He's got an old routine: walk to the mailbox, feed the birds, sit on the porch with a cup of black coffee in hand. But one cold November morning, Frank slipped on the steps leading down from his porch. It wasn't a hard fall, just a bump on the side. He didn't even tell his daughter. He figured, "I'll be fine in a few days." But a few days turned into a week, then 2. And instead of bouncing back, Frank found himself limping, struggling to sleep, losing his appetite. That little fall? It turned into a bigger problem. And it's not because Frank did anything wrong. It's because his body just doesn't heal like it used to. Here's the truth that many in America don't talk about enough. After age 80, recovery time can feel like a slow crawl. And it's not just about falls. It could be the aftermath of a minor surgery, a urinary tract infection, even a bad cold or a round of the flu. When you're 40, you bounce back in a weekend. When you're 84, that same bug can knock you down for a month or longer. Here's why. At this stage of life, your immune system weakens. Muscles shrink. Bones thin. Even skin cells repair more slowly. And if you're also managing conditions like arthritis, diabetes, or heart disease, like many seniors in the US are, it all adds up. But here's where the danger creeps in. Most families don't notice the difference in recovery speed until it's too late. They say things like, "Oh, Dad's just tired. Mom's been in bed a lot lately, but she's just resting." Or the classic, "She's just getting old." But what they're missing is that slow recovery is a signal. A red flag. A quiet warning that the body's struggling. So what should you do? Start by paying attention to the small stuff. A tiny bruise on the leg. A wound that hasn't healed after 10 days. A dip in energy that lasts longer than a week. These aren't just old age. They could be signs of something deeper. Help your loved ones by encouraging gentle, regular movement, even just walking a few minutes a day. Make sure they're hydrating, eating small protein-rich meals, and getting plenty of rest. And if something doesn't seem right, don't wait. Call their doctor. Catch it early. Be proactive. Because here in the US, so many seniors live alone, especially in rural towns and suburbs. And what starts as something small can quickly snowball into a hospital visit. Or worse. But slow recovery isn't just a physical change. It affects the mind, too. It chips away at confidence, at independence, at joy. And that brings us to the next reality. One that hits even closer to home: cognitive decline and memory loss. Let's talk about what that really feels like. And how to respond when it starts showing up in someone you love. Reality number 2, increased forgetfulness and mental fog. Let me take you into another moment. Her name is Margaret. She's a grandmother in her late 80s, living in a small, cozy apartment in southern Illinois. She's the heart of her family, the one who used to host Thanksgiving, remember every grandkid's birthday, and bake the best pecan pie you've ever tasted. But lately, Margaret's been forgetting things. Not just where she left her glasses, but names. Important ones. Her grandson Caleb, she called him Charlie the other day. She forgot her doctor's appointment last week. She repeated the same story about her high school prom 3 times at dinner. Her daughter smiled gently and said, "Oh, Mom's just getting older." The grandkids laughed it off. But Margaret didn't laugh. She just sat there, quiet, embarrassed, confused. And that silence? That quiet moment when she looked down at her hands? That's what most people miss. Because this forgetfulness, it's not just getting old. It's something deeper. Something we need to talk about. You see, in the United States, cognitive decline affects millions of seniors every year. And while a little forgetfulness is normal, especially after 80, what's not normal is when it begins interfering with daily life. When someone starts forgetting where they live, or how to cook a meal they've made for 40 years, or starts withdrawing from conversations because they can't keep up. That's not just aging. That could be mild cognitive impairment, or even the early stages of dementia. But here's the thing. Most families don't want to face it. They'll say things like, "She's just tired. He's been under stress. It's not that serious." And so they wait. And waiting delays help. It delays routines that could have slowed it down. Delays conversations that could have brought comfort. Delays treatment that could have given more time, more clarity, more dignity. Because here's the truth. When it comes to the mind, early awareness is everything. So what can you do if you notice the signs? Start small. Encourage reading. Even large print books or audiobooks can help keep the brain engaged. Play memory games together. Yes, even simple ones like matching cards or crossword puzzles. Ask them to tell stories about their life. Record them if they're open to it. And most of all, don't isolate them. Loneliness, which is already far too common among American seniors, makes cognitive decline worse. A phone call, a shared meal, a walk through the neighborhood. These little things? They add up. And if you're a senior yourself, and you're starting to feel those moments of fog, don't be ashamed. Speak up. Tell someone you trust. Because asking for help is not weakness, it's wisdom. Now, when the mind starts to slow, the body often follows. You wake up tired. You move slower. Even small tasks begin to feel like climbing a hill. And that brings us to another silent challenge after 80. A kind of tiredness that doesn't go away after a nap. Let's talk about it. Reality number 3. Daily fatigue and loss of vitality. Let's talk about something that a lot of folks over 80 feel, but almost no one wants to admit out loud. You're tired. Not just a little sleepy. Not the kind of tired you fix with a nap or a cup of coffee. But a deep, draining, all-over weariness that clings to you the moment you open your eyes in the morning. And it wasn't always like this, was it? Think back just 10 years ago, maybe even 5. You were moving more, doing more, laughing more. Maybe you were walking to the mailbox without thinking twice, cooking dinner from scratch, visiting the farmer's market every Saturday. But now, just getting from the bed to the kitchen feels like work. And some days, you wonder if you've got the strength to even shower. You're not imagining it. That exhaustion is real. And you're not alone. In fact, in the United States, nearly 1 in 3 seniors over 80 report feeling constantly fatigued. And it's not just getting older. There's science behind it. As we age, our muscle mass decreases, especially if we're less active. The heart and lungs aren't pumping quite as strongly as they used to. Our cells don't recover as fast. And if you're dealing with chronic conditions, arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, maybe even recovering from a surgery, your body is quietly working overtime just to keep things running. So no, you're not being lazy. You're carrying 80+ years of living, of stress, of effort, of survival. That kind of mileage comes with wear. But here's where we make the mistake, especially here in the US, where we pride ourselves on independence. We shrug it off. We say, "I'm just slowing down." Or we hear our kids say, "Dad's just tired more these days, it's normal." And yes, some slowing down is expected. But when the tiredness is constant, when you're too drained to enjoy the things you used to love, that's not something to ignore. That could be your body sending you a message. Sometimes fatigue is tied to anemia. Your blood not carrying enough oxygen. Other times, it's connected to heart problems, or thyroid imbalances, or even something as simple as not drinking enough water. Yes, dehydration is one of the most common causes of fatigue in American seniors, especially those who live alone. So what can help? Start small. No need to overdo it. Just a 5-minute stretch in the morning, or a gentle walk to the mailbox and back can help restore some of that lost vitality. Eat a little something every few hours. Small, protein-rich snacks. Greek yogurt. A slice of turkey. A boiled egg. Even a spoonful of peanut butter can make a difference in energy. Stay hydrated. Keep a water bottle by your side and sip it throughout the day. Not soda. Not coffee. Water. And check in with your doctor. If you're sleeping 8 to 9 hours and still waking up tired, it's worth a conversation. You deserve more than just getting through the day. You deserve to feel as strong as possible, for as long as possible. But here's something else you should know. This kind of fatigue? It often worsens when the heart feels heavy. And that brings us to a reality many seniors know too well. A quiet emptiness that settles in when the phone doesn't ring. When the house stays too quiet. When the days blend together. Let's talk about loneliness, and the weight it carries, next. Reality number 4. Emotional isolation and social disconnection. Loneliness. It's one of those things you don't always see from the outside. But on the inside, it can feel like a heavy fog that just doesn't lift. You may not talk about it. You might smile when the kids call on Sundays. You may wave to the neighbor when they're out walking the dog. But deep down, the silence hits differently these days. Maybe your spouse passed a few years ago. Maybe your closest friends are no longer around. Maybe your family lives 2 states away, busy with work, school, life. You sit by the window. Same view. Same quiet street. And even when the sun is shining outside, it doesn't quite make it through the blinds. That's not just loneliness. That's emotional isolation. And it's more common than most people think. In fact, over 40% of Americans over 80 report feeling lonely on a regular basis. And it's not just feeling sad. Studies show that chronic loneliness has a direct link to higher risks of heart disease, depression, even cognitive decline. But here's the thing. Most people assume older adults want peace and quiet. That you enjoy your space. That you're done with the hustle and bustle. And yes, sometimes silence is welcome. But deep, ongoing isolation? That's a different story. Because human beings, at every age, need connection. We're wired for it. A 10-minute phone call. A short drive to grab a coffee. A neighbor dropping by with leftovers. Those moments don't just fill the time. They fill the heart. So if you're feeling disconnected, here's a gentle reminder. You're allowed to reach out. To call first. To say, I miss you. And if you're a caregiver or family member watching this, don't wait for them to say it. Because often they won't. Not out of pride. But out of not wanting to be a burden. Create a routine. A quick check-in every Wednesday. Lunch once a month. Help them join a local senior center, a walking group, a book club. Even brief, casual conversations can shift an entire week. Because while independence matters, connection heals. But even when you're surrounded by people, family, nurses, caregivers, there's still one struggle that no one else can fight for you. That creeping fear of losing control. Losing the ability to make your own choices. Losing the freedom to live life on your own terms. Let's talk about that next. The fear and the reality of losing independence. Reality number 5, dependence on others. Now let's talk about something that often goes unspoken, but deeply felt. Dependence. Imagine this. You've spent a lifetime doing things your way. Raising kids. Running a household. Driving yourself to the grocery store. Tying your shoes, pouring your coffee, folding your laundry. It all came so naturally. And then one day, slowly, quietly, it doesn't. You're standing in the bathroom, staring at the shower. Realizing that stepping in feels like climbing a mountain. Your hands tremble a bit as you try to button your shirt. Your legs, once steady, now wobble after just a few steps. You didn't plan for this. You didn't ask for help. But suddenly it's offered everywhere. Let me do that. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And while those words come from a place of love, they can sting. Because somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispers, am I becoming a burden? That's the emotional side of dependence. And it's one of the hardest things to accept after a lifetime of doing. The truth is, as we age, mobility, dexterity, and balance begin to fade. The simple things become not so simple. Bathing, dressing, even opening a jar or tying shoelaces. It can take more time, more effort, and sometimes, someone else's help. But here's the critical part. Needing help doesn't mean losing dignity. The real issue is how help is offered. Too often, family members, out of love or fear, jump in and take over everything. They cook all the meals, handle every task, make every decision. And before long, the person they're helping starts to feel powerless. Like their voice doesn't matter anymore. But independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about still having a say, still having purpose, still being involved. So if you're caring for someone, or if you're the one needing more help these days, find the balance. Encourage what they can still do. Even if it takes longer. Even if it's not perfect. Support where it's needed, but don't overshadow their capabilities. Because preserving independence, even in small ways, keeps the spirit alive. It reminds them they're still in charge of their life. It's not about pride. It's about personhood. And that's something worth protecting. But perhaps the most difficult shift of all isn't physical. It's emotional. It's that quiet ache, that sinking feeling, that the world is no longer looking your way. Let's talk about it. The final, and maybe most painful, reality. Feeling invisible. Reality number 6. feeling forgotten by society. Now, let's talk about something that's perhaps the most heart-wrenching of all. Feeling forgotten. It's not the obvious kind of neglect. It's the subtle kind, the kind you don't notice right away but feel in the silence. It's the quiet moments when you're sitting at a family gathering and realize you're no longer the first person people turn to for advice. You're no longer the head of the household. You've seen the younger generation take the lead. They're making decisions, hosting the holidays, planning the future. And you're left, not in charge, not in the conversation, but simply in the background. It's hard to admit, but it's true. As we age, many of us find ourselves overlooked. It happens when you're waiting in line at the grocery store and nobody makes eye contact. It happens when you visit a doctor's office, and they talk to your caregiver, not you. It happens when you share your thoughts at a family dinner, but no one seems to listen. Once you were the one everyone sought out for advice. Once you were the one who held the family together with your stories, your experiences, your knowledge. But now, it feels like the world has moved on, without you. And here's where the hard truth hits: ageism is real. The idea that with age comes irrelevance. It's in the way society often portrays older adults: slow, forgetful, out of touch. And it's in how quickly the world forgets the immense value of life experience, wisdom, and perspective that only comes with time. But here's the truth that needs to be shouted from the rooftops. Just because someone is older doesn't mean they are any less valuable. In fact, they are priceless. Think about the lessons you've learned over the years. The mistakes. The triumphs. The wisdom that only experience can teach. Who else can pass that knowledge down? Who else can carry that history forward? Our elderly are the anchors in our families. They are the keepers of our stories, the guardians of our traditions, the ones who can teach us the things we didn't even know we needed to know. But when society forgets them, when they're dismissed or ignored, it does more than just harm them physically, it harms us all. So if you're the one listening to this right now, whether you're an elderly person, a caregiver, or a loved one, give voice to those who are often unheard. Ask your elderly loved ones for their opinions. Give them the chance to share their thoughts, their wisdom, their perspective. Let them teach you, let them guide you, let them be seen. Because when we make space for our elders, when we show them they are still important, still relevant, everyone benefits. They benefit by feeling valued. And we benefit by learning from their vast experiences, the lessons only time can provide. So, while these 6 realities may be difficult to accept, they are even harder to ignore. The reality of aging is complex. And understanding it is not just about providing care, it's about providing dignity, respect, connection. Now take a moment and think deeply. As you've been listening to these 6 realities, maybe something inside you has shifted. Perhaps you've started to recognize these changes in your own life. Whether it's your body slowing down, your mind not quite as sharp as it once was, or that feeling of being left behind as the world rushes forward. I want you to know something important. You are not alone in this. These changes are part of life, but they do not define you. What defines you is the wisdom you carry, the experiences you've lived through, and the countless moments you've shaped in the world around you. You've been through so much already, maybe more than anyone will ever fully understand. And those experiences? They are priceless. It's natural to feel frustrated, sometimes even forgotten. It's normal to feel like your body or mind isn't doing what it used to. It's okay to feel the weight of the years sometimes. But I need you to hear this: you are still important. You still have so much to offer. I know, some days it feels like the world has moved on without you. Maybe the family doesn't ask for your advice as often, or the friends you once shared so many memories with aren't around anymore. But that doesn't make you any less valuable. The wisdom you've gained, the love you've given, and the stories you carry, they all matter. And even though it can be hard to face the realities of aging, I want to remind you that you are not invisible. You may feel like the world doesn't notice you the way it once did, but I'm here to tell you that you still have a voice. Your words still matter. Your thoughts still hold weight. You are not just the sum of your years, You are the sum of your experiences, your strength, and your heart. It's okay to need help sometimes. It's okay to lean on your family, your friends, or even professionals. But don't let anyone make you feel like you're less because you need support. You've done so much in your life. You've cared for others, you've faced struggles, and you've conquered things that once seemed impossible. Now, it's time for others to show that same care and respect to you. And let me tell you, you're not a burden. You are a treasure. Your memories, your stories, and your wisdom are priceless. They are what connect generations, what keep traditions alive, and what guide those who come after you. Yes, the world may change, and your body might slow down, but you are still incredibly important. Never forget that. Never forget that your life has meaning, today, tomorrow, and always. You are still loved, you are still needed, and you still matter more than you know. Take a moment today to remind yourself of that truth. Look around you and see the love that still surrounds you. You've shaped so many lives, and you continue to do so. Your journey is far from over. You have so much more to give. So, when you wake up tomorrow, even if it feels like another tough day, remember. You are not forgotten. You are valued. You are loved. And you are never alone in this journey. Keep sharing your wisdom. Keep sharing your love. The world still needs you. Now, before we wrap up, let's quickly go over everything we've talked about. To recap, the 6 harsh realities we've discussed today are: 1. Slower healing and recovery. 2. Increased forgetfulness and mental fog. 3. Constant fatigue and the feeling of being drained. 4. Emotional isolation and disconnection from others. 5. The struggle with dependency on others. 6. And the feeling of being forgotten by society, overlooked, or dismissed. These are real. They're tough. But they matter deeply. Understanding these realities is the first step in breaking the silence around aging. These aren't just natural parts of getting older. They're challenges that deserve attention, compassion, and action. And most importantly, you're not alone in facing them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Which of these harsh realities have you witnessed in your life or in the life of someone you love? It could be a moment where you recognized one of these changes in yourself, or maybe it's something you've seen in a parent, a friend, or a neighbor. Leave a comment below and share your story. I read every single message, and hearing your experiences helps us all connect and learn from one another. And if you found this video valuable, if you believe that our elders deserve more respect, care, and understanding, hit that subscribe button and join us here at Elderly Council. When you subscribe, you'll always be in the loop with more important discussions about senior care, health, and wellness. We're here to make sure your voice is heard, that you're informed, and that you have the tools you need to live your best life at every stage. I want to thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for being a part of this conversation today. You matter. Your experiences matter. And by coming together, by opening up these dialogues, we make sure that the elderly, the ones who've shaped so many of our lives, never feel forgotten or unseen. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and remember, you're never alone in this. Until next time, I'll see you in our next video here on Elderly Council.